A woman should be who and what she wants. We support the multifaceted woman. The woman embracing many titles, undertaking different ventures, and building generational wealth. You are a Jackie of all trades, master of your empire. Enterprise Empress, you are an unstoppable force.
Welcome everyone to Empress News. I am your host today, Natalie Rowe. I have with me Dr. Yvette Holmes. I have Belinda Gordan-Battle. Sharon is off today enjoying her birthday. Happy birthday, Sharon.
Happy birthday, Sharon.
So this is Empress News. And on Empress News, we get together with Jackies of all trades who are also masters of their empire. And we talk about how to build generational wealth, how to undertake many ventures, how to just do all the different things that as women that we're doing to impact not just our lives, but the lives of those around us. So today, we're going to talk about mental health. We have two mental health experts with us. But before that, ladies, the first thing we always do is ask our guests what their titles are. So, for example, right, because we say that a Jackie of all trade, an Empress, she has many titles, right? All the different things we're kind of responsible for. Mm-hmm. So my titles, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm an entrepreneur, right? Like these are some of my titles. Okay. So Belinda, we'll start with you. What are some of your titles?
Wow, I love that question because it's so important to know who you are and what you are in order for you to continue to achieve your goals. So for me, on a professional level, I am a licensed clinical therapist. I have been one in my head since 7th grade.
7th grade.
So I carry that proudly. I have a passion for mental health and mental wellness. On a personal level, I'm a wife, more than 20 years. Wow. I'm a mother. I'm a sister also, a sister for people that share blood with me, but also a sister in my community.
I love that.
And I think that is important for me to always be an advocate and a sister within my own community. That's who I am.
I love that. I
do too. I love that.
All right, Yvette, share with us. What are some of your titles?
So I tell people I'm a professor by day, and then I'm an entrepreneur by day and night. Because it doesn't stop. Right. It overlaps.
Yes.
But I am a professor of marketing, and that's my profession.
Okay.
That's my work in business education. But I'm also an entrepreneur. I have had many businesses over the years, and I continue to start and run new ones. I'm an author. And 1 year I wrote 7 books. That was like a magical year.
Oh, wow.
2019 to be exact. I'm a host. I'm a business consultant. Okay. But I'm most proud of my newest business venture, the Amara Woman. So I founded the Amara Woman to help high-performing women to really find balance. And with that, we've got a podcast, a clothing line, a journal, and a wellness women's retreat that is recurring. So we just had our first one. We have our next one in December.
Love it.
So those are like my professional titles. But I am a daughter, I'm a sister, and I'm just a really good friend.
That's awesome. And we need a friend, right?
Yes.
All of us.
Yes.
Everyone at some point, for some reason, you need that girlfriend.
The girlfriend.
that you could just call and just like, girl, I just can't,
right.
And lay it all bare. So that's kind of what this show is going to be today. We're just going to kind of be some girlfriends just hanging out. We just so happen to have microphones and our shoes on, and we're just going to talk, right?
Got it. Okay.
We can do that.
Does that work?
Yes.
So let's talk about, you just used the word balance.
Yeah.
Let's talk about balance. We all have a lot of different things that we have going on, right? Mm-hmm. All these different responsibilities. None of them are like light work.
No,
not at all.
They're all some heavy loads that we're carrying, right? And multiple loads. So let's talk about balance. How do you balance? And then how can you, as a mental health expert, what advice do you have for other women on how to balance?
Yeah.
Yvette, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. I get it often being in the field and in the business that I'm in. And I'm still learning truly how to balance effectively. I feel like, we can have it all, but it's one of those things we cannot have it all at the same time. Yes. It's about figuring out what to turn on and what to turn off, what to kind of like push back and adjust. But I have learned to, recognize like when my body is doing something different. So when I feel stressed, when my reactions aren't normal, when I'm a little bit more aggressive or discouraged. So I recognize that, and then I instantly take some time. Like I take a break.
Good.
And I'm starting to practice what I preach. And that break doesn't have to be like a vacation. I look on Instagram and you see people traveling all over the world. It might just be a 1-day break or half a day break where it's literally just a few hours where I can stop, breathe, and reset. Yes. Or I'll go for a run, right? Yes. So adding a physical activity to that really helps me to kind of break that mental strain. And then lastly, I'll call on my girlfriends. I'll be like, listen, I have a lot of friends that are Jackies. And so they get it. Yes. They get my circle is strong and consistent, and they understand as well. So we can talk it through and find that balance. I've outsourced a lot of things where I don't have to do all the dirty work in terms of grocery shopping. Or
smart
running errands. I might have that stuff delivered to me so that it saves time. And in that saving of time, I can sit still for a second.
Yes.
So those are some of the things that I do.
Yeah. Instacart is a gift from God.
It is.
He dwells.
He dwells with
Instacart. What about Amazon?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. The brown box is being delivered to the front door.
It's a good and evil thing.
It is. Yes.
It's therapy, though. It is really good. And I think Amazon has like a therapeutic angle. Like they should really market this thing. We need it.
Yes. Yes. But I really like that. The part about outsourcing things, because we don't always think about how much time it takes to go to the grocery store, right? And I want to get your response, but I just wanted to stay there for a second, because that hour that you spend at the grocery store is an hour you can spend just kind of resting and doing nothing and just sitting for a few minutes,
right?
Or going to take a bubble bath if that's your thing, instead of going and dealing with the traffic and getting in and out of the grocery store. Like that's a point of self-care.
It is.
Yes.
Like getting that time back.
Yeah.
And being okay. Kind of, you might have to pay for that time, but it's worth it.
But it's worth it.
It's so worth it.
That $9.99 a month that you pay for Instacart, or if you do the annual subscription like I do and just be done with it.
Is me. We're in the same.
Just let them bring the groceries to the house. It's amazing.
Yeah, like commercial for Instacart.
I love it.
But it's helpful. It really is helpful, though.
Yes,
absolutely.
So tell us, Belinda.
Thank you, Felicia. I see you. So I think one thing that's important, and I try to remind myself, but I also remind my clients, is to pace yourself. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a nap in the middle of the day. But that's the most refreshing thing you can do. Put your timer on and go ahead, go into your own space. Even if you're in your office, close the door and have some moments where you can cut the lights down, put on some music that's relaxing, and just pace yourself throughout the day. I think we forget to do that.
Yeah.
We think that we cannot take little breaks and take care of ourselves, but we have to. If we don't take care of ourselves as individuals, as women, I'm not sure who else will do it for us.
Yeah. And how do we take care of everybody else? Because that's what we do, right? We're innately nurturers, and we spend so much time giving out and taking care of everybody else in our community. We forget to take care of ourselves.
We forget, but we have to make ourselves a priority, and we have to delegate. We have to delegate tasks. When our young children become teenagers, they need to have more responsibilities. We have to make sure we're having those conversations in our community with organizations that we work with, but also in our community of the home about delegating tasks. So one person is not responsible for everything.
Yes.
And that one person oftentimes is the female in the home, the mother of the home.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to relinquish that control, because we're so used to being in control and things being exactly the way that we want them to be, that to have somebody else do it, it can be nerve-wracking.
It can be nerve-wracking, but that's the growth. If you are able to see that if I delegate these tasks and allow my child to make his or her bed, it's not going to be perfect.
It's not going to be perfect.
But it's okay.
Yes.
They are learning a task. Relinquish that power, that control. You will have more time to do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and
make
that
yourself
teaches
a priority.
Them responsibility as well, which is huge.
Yes.
So that's one of the things as a mom that I had to learn was it's okay. The kitchen may not look exactly the way that it looks when I wash.
Absolutely.
But is it clean? Are the dishes clean?
Yes.
Okay, then really that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
You know?
In doing that, you also teach young people around you that it's okay to step back and take a break. You don't have to be responsible for everything. And sometimes we don't realize that we are setting an example all the time,
Yeah.
not just for children in our home, but children in our community. If they see you the one that's always doing everything, they think, oh, being a mother means I always have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Being just a young lady means I always have to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to set that pattern. We can't just talk about it.
Yeah.
Got to be about
Got to
it.
be about
That's
Gotta
in
be
the
about it.
home, and that's also in your business.
Yes.
So having the team, because you don't always
Yes.
have a team.
Mhm.
You're not guaranteed a team, but those who are
Yes.
working with you, letting them expect
Yeah.
that you're going to give them control over some
Mhm.
things, and that you can coach them to get to where they need to be.
Absolutely.
Now it's
Yes.
difficult because you got to watch the progress.
Right.
You got to
Yeah.
watch the mistakes as we get there, but it's also preparing yourself for the freedom
Yes, it
5
is.
years from
Yeah.
now or 5 minutes from
Absolutely.
now.
Let's talk
Absolutely.
about that, because we're all entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
right? So as an entrepreneur, our business is our baby, essentially,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So how have you all been able to relinquish that control with different members of your team
Mhm.
to kind of take your hands off a little bit without taking it back? Because you can take your hands off and say, okay, I'm going to let you do this.
Right.
This is going to be your responsibility, but then I
Give it
take
back.
it back because I'm nervous that it might not,
Yeah.
be, and the product reflects my business. It's my baby. I want to make sure.
Mhm.
So how have you all been able to do that professionally?
So I am still learning to not take it back. But what I've done is a lot of the folks that I have working with me, they've been with me for a while.
Okay.
So when I bring in someone new, there's
Mhm.
almost like a training camp.
Mhm.
So those who've been around for a while
Mhm.
can kind of get the newer person acclimated to my
Yeah.
way of work and
Yeah.
my way of thinking. If we just had direct contact, there might be a little bit of frustration in terms of going back and forth and making adjustments. But I give them almost like a mentee kind of setup.
Yeah.
Like, this person's worked with me for a very long time. In fact, she thinks just like me now at this point, works
Yes.
just like me. So y'all pair up.
Mhm.
And then by the time I see it, it's already been touched by someone
It's
who's been
gone
around for a
through.
while. It's been massaged a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's not
yes.
just the raw
Yeah.
version of things.
Yeah.
And that really, so what that does is it gives everybody a little bit more responsibility.
Mhm.
The individual who's been with me for a while, now they've got leadership that's being developed.
Yes.
And they kind of feel like, well, now I have an aid. They get an aid when I get an aid.
Smart.
Absolutely.
They get some help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that has really helped. Otherwise, I'd be pulling my hair out if we were working like at the, just me and the new person all the time.
Yeah.
So having that middle person. The other thing is I've learned, like even with, I have a social media person for one of the brands,
Mhm.
and we used to be very, very strict about the date that things have to go out and the time.
Mhm.
And he would miss the days or just have something coming up. And I got to the point now where I'm like, hey, whenever you're ready, just let it go out whenever you feel like you've got the time. Because for me, the stress of worrying about the calendar wasn't worth this person being stressed
Mhm.
out, right?
Mhm.
So giving him that freedom now, I want to say we're more timely now that I'm not concerned about the time.
Right.
That's
So
good.
just saying,
Yeah.
kind of being more flexible
Okay.
in some things.
I'm taking mental notes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm taking mental notes.
Yeah.
It's real though,
Okay.
because
It
we
is.
feel like things have to be a certain, and there are some things in business that have to be
Mhm.
concretely done on a certain day at a certain time in a certain manner.
Yeah.
And then the things that can be flexible and things that can be a little bit different and have their own kind of twist,
Mhm.
allow them to be that.
Right.
Right.
So understanding what things need to be held tightly
Right.
and what things you can kind of relax on a little bit. So bring some balance to it is
Bring
what I
in some
hear.
balance
Yeah.
Okay.
and allowing that individual to kind of own that more flexible
Yeah.
task.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Belinda.
So I think for me, part of my work is to empower people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm trying to hold on to everything, every aspect of my business, I don't have opportunity to also empower the people that I'm saying, I trust you to work with me. I trust your talent. I trust your skills. So it's every time we put something together, it's okay to make a mistake. We make the mistake together. We fix it together. But let me empower you to be responsible and have ownership for this part of the project. And we work through it that way as a team. It's really important for me to have people around me that are comfortable with their skills.
Mm-hmm.
They're comfortable with their experience, but they're also comfortable taking the lead.
So I just heard you say trust is an action word.
Absolutely.
It's not just something that I say I trust you and I bring you onto the team,
No.
but I show you I
I
trust
show
you
you.
by allowing you to do it. And when you
have
make a
ownership
mistake,
of
it's
this.
okay.
Yes.
So that just made me think of one of my favorite movies is a Disney movie. It's called Meet the Robinsons, right? Excuse me, I really like cartoons.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know the movie.
Put that out there. That's part of my self-care. I go and I watch Disney Plus. Yes, I have a subscription, and there are
I'm
no
on it
little
for the
people
weekend.
in my house.
Meet the Robinsons.
Okay. So, but in the movie, the main character always talks about his mantra is moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So he's an inventor,
Yeah.
right? So he invents something, it doesn't work, or something breaks. He's like, that's okay, we're moving forward.
Yes.
So from each mistake that he made, or what seems like a mistake, he just brushes it off, learns from it, and he moves
keeps
forward.
Going. Yes.
So at the end of the movie, he's invented like all these types of things. He was an orphan at the beginning of the movie. He's built this family with people from his community, like you talked about. And his family is very eclectic. I love the movie. My husband's like, you watch this movie like you've never seen it.
Got to see it.
I've never seen it. I really do.
I have to
like,
see this
to
movie.
the point that my kids, when it comes on TV before we got Disney Plus, they would just record it for me. Because mommy's going to watch this
anyway, right.
So let's just record it.
I love that.
But I love that mantra of just moving forward.
Yes.
Like, it's okay to make a mistake.
Right.
Because if you don't make a mistake, that means you aren't trying.
You're right.
And then you're going to be stagnant, right? And we don't want to be stagnant.
We don't want to be stagnant.
Yes.
Because there's no growth in that,
No growth.
right?
Don't look for perfection. Look for growth.
Yes.
That's what you need to look for.
Growth. And
yes.
Someone, my grandmother, her quote that she left all of us with was "make excellence a habit." Yeah. So it's not necessarily about perfection. It's about being excellent. If you're giving me your excellent behavior, your excellent skill, your excellence, then I am completely satisfied.
Yes.
It may not be perfect.
It may not be perfect.
But it's your excellence.
So as a parent, that's your child's best may be a C in class.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And understanding that if that's the best that child can do, then okay, maybe we need to figure out what help we can give them. But understanding that they're giving their best.
And before we try to seek help, acknowledge that C. Acknowledge that effort and allow that child to see that if you made every effort, we need to do this with in our relationships of all types. At work, in personal relationships, all relationships we have to acknowledge where we are right now. Yes. If you did your very best, allow me to acknowledge that before I say, but you could have, or we should, or let's get this. Let's get a tutor for you today. But you haven't acknowledged what I just did.
Yes. And that's huge.
I made it to a C.
That's huge. It goes so far in building self-confidence just to know, okay, well, I tried it. You know, it may not have worked out the way that I wanted to, but I tried it. And someone acknowledges, someone who's important to me, especially acknowledges the fact that I tried.
Yes.
That's huge.
That is huge.
That's in the classroom. Huge. So as I'm coaching my students, I'm constantly coaching and encouraging. I'm like, in some cases, I am their biggest cheerleader. Yeah. And these are collegiate students in this situation, recognizing how far they've come.
Right.
Especially if I've had them a semester before and I really know how far they've come over a period of time.
Yes.
And celebrating those wins. Because we all want to be celebrated. Yes. Like we all want our wins to be celebrated in some way.
Yes.
So yes, there might be still room for improvement. And we know that there's more that this person can do, this student or this child can do.
Yes.
But really celebrating the fact that they got the C.
Yes. Yes.
And maybe the spelling was better. Maybe the grammar was better in the writing this time.
Yes.
Or maybe it was timely this time as opposed to being late. Whatever it is, there's a win in there. In every situation, there is a win. You just have to look for it.
And we have to do it for ourselves.
Yeah. Yes.
In every situation, there's a win for us, even when you feel like this is not exactly the end result I wanted. But if we're reflective and in hindsight, you made some progress, don't dismiss that. Celebrate
perspective.
That. Yes, it's all about perspective, but making sure that you have a perspective that allows you to celebrate yourself and to say, I have made progress. I want to continue to make progress. Don't put yourself down immediately. Give yourself a chance to say, well, how did I grow? Where did I grow? Did I meet new people? Was I able to network? Was I able to complete the paper, even though I may not have gotten an A on the paper? Allow ourselves to have that opportunity to celebrate ourselves. That's part of self-care.
In my work of wellness, like dealing with physical goals, that's part of it. Yeah, you have this goal that's large and you have years ahead of you to get there.
Yes.
But it takes steps and consistency. And in some cases, you may be a little inconsistent because there's something else that's going on. But we can get back on track.
Always.
Yes.
It's quite all right.
Always.
It is quite all right. We've got time.
Always
We
get
have
back on
time.
track.
We have time. Let's talk a little bit about wellness in terms of physical health and how that translates into mental health and just overall well-being.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that just for a little bit?
Sure. I always say, I think in life, to be successful mentally, physically, spiritually, intellectually, what are all the 7
All of
dimensions
those.
of wealth?
Yes.
All the dimensions, to have all those things on point. You have to have a really good routine, or at least be looking to creating a good routine for yourself. So discipline is a part of maintaining your physical wellness, because it's easy to get off track. There's so many distractions in terms of eating the wrong things or not being active enough. Those are 2 things. But then we also have other illnesses that could arise if we aren't eating well. So being disciplined in our eating, being disciplined in what we intake, what we hear, what we read, all of those things. Now that translates over into our mental health.
Yeah.
So when you have the discipline in one area where you can get up, perhaps you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning and you've got your routine to work out. You might also include your routine to read or to pray or have your morning devotion. I have a morning devotion. All of that translates into our mental as well, right? Our total being. And discipline, to me, and creating a good routine is how we stay consistent.
Yes.
And again, not beating yourself up if you happen to fall off that routine for a small period of time.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I love what you just said about what we intake, right? It's not just because also often when we think about intake, we think about the food we eat, but it's not just what we eat, but it's what we're listening to.
Yeah.
The things we're hearing, it's what we're seeing, what we're reading. Like for me, part of my self-care is not watching the news.
Oh gosh, I haven't watched the news in forever.
In years.
I can't even tell you.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. So part of my self-care I realized was I can't absorb this. I can't take this because this is too much.
So you have to remove that.
So I had to remove it.
Right.
Yes.
That's right.
And now I don't know what's going on until somebody
tells you.
So that's the beauty of something like Audible books or audio books as well, because you're reading, but you're listening, or podcasts even, right? So you're absorbing this content either intentionally or unintentionally, but you're feeding your mind. And it could be a podcast on physical fitness. So now you're doing both. Like you're learning about health tips as well as, stimulating your mental.
Yes. But that awareness of what triggers you is very important.
Yes.
So watching the news and realizing that there's some negative things going on that I do not want to digest today. You have to turn that off. Maybe read about it every once in a while. Get the news from a friend if you need it. But you have to know what triggers you and what can I eliminate from my daily diet that's not going to help me to carry on.
I love that. Is that advice that you find that you give to people often that people don't necessarily realize?
Yes, absolutely. Just take some time and make a list of what makes you feel good and what makes you feel not so good, what makes you feel bad. And when you look at that list, you can go ahead and modify, minimize things that don't make you feel good and maximize things that make you feel good. And the interesting thing is oftentimes for adults, especially adults that are entrepreneurs, they don't remember what made me happy.
Wow.
How am I doing this?
Wow.
Why am I doing this? What am I looking for? Because the work is so pressured and ongoing that they realize, I don't even remember why I started doing this.
Wow.
What's the outcome I was looking for? So those type of questions you have to consistently ask yourself. I always tell people, just close your eyes for a second and think about your childhood. Even those of us that may have had traumatic childhoods, there were slivers of moments where you felt joy or happiness. It could have been walking outside barefoot. It could have been on a swing, playing baseball, taking a swim. It could have been anything, playing with your dolls, watching the Robinsons over and over and over.
Yes.
But think about what made you happy. And then as an adult, practice a little bit of that every day.
I love that advice.
That's really good because when you say that entrepreneurs or specifically Jackies or high performing women don't remember, I think it's because, and I tell my clients and friends, is we're at capacity. Literally, we filled our heart, filled our mind, filled it with everything. There's no room for anything else. There's no room to remember what makes us happy because we're focused on the next thing. And there's only as soon as something is released or checked off our list that
We
gives
add
us a little bit more
something else.
capacity, the list is still there. We
Yeah.
filled it back.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So if we're operating at capacity, then we could never, ever have anything else, absorb anything else good.
Yeah.
That's right.
We wouldn't be able to determine what's good for us.
No, you couldn't.
Yes.
You couldn't. And that makes me always encourage us to take care of ourselves. And part of that self-care is to make sure we leave this much
room, space.
Have to leave that space for you to enjoy yourself, your time with yourself, where it's not just focused on business, it's not just focused on family, but what about me?
Yes.
Make myself a priority.
Yes. So what are some tips? I'm sorry, there's a comment. It says minimize and maximize. We have to pay attention as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. And that is not easy. That is not easy. Yes. Dex, can you bring up a couple so we can just read them off real quick? Thank you, Felicia. Felicia says, I love this conversation of celebrating the progress that you've made, even the C's, as it may be your best.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, thank you. And how do we manage the guilt of taking time for self when there's so much to be done?
Yes.
Can you guys talk about, that's actually what I was getting ready to ask. Can you speak on that for me?
Absolutely. Managing. I love that word, Felicia. Thank you so much. We have to manage so much. That includes managing our emotions and actually identifying, why do we feel guilty? Do we feel guilty because we don't think our children or our family members or our team members have the capacity to support us? Or do we feel guilty we haven't prepared them to support us? Where's that guilt originating from? Because we want to make sure that everybody around us, we have empowered them, we have fortified them, we have made sure that they are ready to handle whatever task that we give them to support us. And if we haven't done that, then we have to go back to square one and make sure we fortify those people around us. That way we can separate ourselves from the guilt, because then we know we've done everything we could. We've done everything that's within our power to make sure the people around us know how to work with us, know how to be team members in the home, in the community, at work. That is so important that we do not carry that guilt that says that we cannot be open to working with other people and allowing them to support us. We have to relinquish that guilt.
We have to train them.
Yeah.
That's what
you teach people how to treat you.
Teach people how to treat you.
Yes.
And training them also. Yes. So when you're getting ready to take a vacation, if you were at work, you would notify, you would have to give a 2 weeks notice. Perhaps. And so you've notified those who need to know that you are unavailable.
Yes.
Let that same thing take place in your personal life. You can notify people in advance and say, I am taking this time. So if you know that you're prone to feeling guilty, giving notice so that you feel like you've also done your part, right? This is part of the growth.
Yes.
I won't be available for these 2 days. I'm taking this time, but I'm giving you 2 weeks notice to get ready for it. So ask all the questions you need now. Let's get things in order. Let's prepare and plan for this time that I'm taking for myself. That same process could help, I think, reduce some of the guilty feeling. But then again, if you have friends around you that totally understand, or people around you that understand, and they're aligned with you and they're connected to you and they understand that you need it, then y'all are like a synchronized swim team. They understand when you're going left, when you're going right, and things will be fine. And that guilt will also be reduced. They'll roll with you.
So training and planning.
Those two things.
Planning involves the training.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
I got it.
And we have to practice it every day. I know you're talking about a 2 week notice, but if we practice self-care every day, everyone around us knows that. They recognize that. They see that as part of our daily schedule. When she gets up, she does her meditation. At the end of the day, after 7 o'clock, she's not taking any more phone calls.
Oh, those are small boundaries.
Those boundaries.
But they're huge.
Exactly. They allow you to have your space.
That's huge. Because you'll find yourself taking calls at 10
or
responding to text messages.
Oh,
gosh. On the way to sleep and the phone dings and you answering.
You sit right up.
Yes, because you
break
have
your
to get
sleep.
Yes.
Mhm.
I love that. I use the do not disturb button on
We
my
have
phone.
to.
I
We
have
have
it
to.
set like automatically, so I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
That it comes on, and so
Now,
you can do it if you want. I'm not gonna hear it.
people be mad at first, though.
Yes.
You didn't respond back fast enough.
Yeah.
You didn't return my email fast
Yes.
enough.
Mhm.
I actually saw that you were active on social media. You didn't respond to my message, whatever that looks like. You don't own this phone.
Right. I think this.
Right. But my break is from you and from that side.
Yeah.
I might be stimulating another part of me that needs some attention.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So those boundaries
Yes.
with the phone.
Gotta have boundaries.
That's good.
Yeah. We can't grow without boundaries.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're exposed all the time to everything.
I love
Access.
that.
Everyone just has access.
All the time.
Yeah.
24/7.
You don't have any time to regroup
No.
because you're constantly
Constantly
putting
bombarded
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so in closing,
What?
Ready? I
Waited. We have
that's it.
No way.
Dex has given us. Dex is our producer,
Dex,
guys.
did
Dex
you do the
has given us our warning that time is about out.
We just
Are
got
you
here.
We got to talk some more.
I love this. We may have to have you guys back when Sharon's in town and we continue
Absolutely.
this
Talk
conversation.
about the oil. Okay.
So, your parting comment. What's the last thing that you want to share with our audience before we head out?
Oh,
What
well,
do you have?
sure. I'll start. Well, I'll talk about the oil now. I was having I had a women's retreat recently, and one of our speakers talked about just the importance of having connections with the right people. And that goes back to being able to pour into others as well as them being able to pour into you. But you know who's anointed. And you also know that the oil runs down and the oil runs through. So be very mindful and be very intentional about who has access to you and who you have access to. It's just like a garden, right? So if you have a lot of fruit, you want to be with people who produce good fruit.
Yes.
And then if they're producing bad, rotten fruit and it's in your garden, what happens to your fruit? Your fruit also becomes bad. So I think surrounding yourself with people who are not just like-minded, but who have the oil and who are anointed to also support your anointing is important.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's beautiful.
Yes, it is. And it's so on point in so many ways, but I'm not going to say anything. Go ahead.
No,
Belinda.
go ahead.
No, because
Okay.
I want to make sure you get your comments.
Well, the only thing I really want to say is that we're in a time where telemental health is available to everyone. There was a time that it was exclusive. Everyone didn't have access to telemental health, but we're at a time where you actually have access. You can get support as needed. You can reach out to me. And even if I'm not the therapist of choice for you, I have no problems directing you to a person that's actually going to support you and help you. And when I say you, I mean everybody in your circle.
Yes.
And we have to take advantage of EAP and our insurance and get the support and the help we need. You can do it right from your home. I have a video on YouTube that I curated with Delphine Jervis. It's called I've Got 5 on it. And it's 5-minute segments from Black and Brown clinicians in South Dade and in Broward. And it just gives you an opportunity to ride in your car, spend 5 minutes with a clinician. And the information for each of those clinicians is there for you to reach out and get the support you need. Mental health, mental wellness is for all of us. So I encourage everyone to just hashtag try it. Try therapy and hashtag just be and enjoy yourself in the process.
So before we go, where can you be found online?
I'm online. I have a website, all the places.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a website. Thank you, John Miller Harrison, for the website. It's www.bgbcounselingservices.com. I'm also on Facebook under my name, Belinda Gordan-Battle, and Instagram, just be a therapist. My moniker is hashtag just be. I've had that for years, so I continue to use it.
Perfect. And Yvette, where can we find you?
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, also on website. So personally, I have Dr. Yvette Maureen, and so that's dryvettemarine.com. On Instagram, that's at Dr. Yvette. And then I also have The Amara Woman. So the website is theamarawoman.com. And on Instagram, we are amara.woman.
Perfect. And you guys know where to find us. We're Fit Enterprises Inc. or Enterprise Empress. So First of all, y'all, I made it through the show without
You
Sharon
did,
and Nadine.
Yvette.
Okay, I did
You're
that.
everything,
Thank you guys so
everything.
very, very much. I just needed to shout myself out for that.
That's a win. We're celebrating
That
wins.
is a huge win.
A jewel in your
That
crown.
is a huge win. Thank you so much, Dr. Yvette Holmes and Belinda Gordan-Battle for riding with me today and for just spreading a lot of knowledge and just helping not just our audience, but helping each other really in this journey that we're undertaking called life and entrepreneurship and all of the things that we have going on. So thank you all so much for joining us again. We look forward to talking with you all again in a couple of weeks with our next show. You all have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Ladies, remember to wear your crowns and wear them